guys, how are you? It's 2020. Halfway through January. I was supposed to have my first appointment of the year today. Guess what? New year, same transportation issues. Let me tell you about what happened today. As soon as I figure out what's going on with this. Okay, that was weird. I have some new makeup. I've been playing around with. I'm not really a makeup person. So the appointment was for 11:30. The appointment was at 11:30. They were supposed to get here. This is the confusing part. Okay, the person who scheduled the ride for me said, I believe, 9:15 to 9:30. The automated voice I get when I called this morning, because they hadn't showed up by 9:30, said something like 9 to 9:15. Sorry, I zoomed way in. And then when I called CareSource about it, because they're the people I get the transportation through, they said something about, I think they said they were supposed to be there by 9:15. I don't know. I wish they would get usually it's like, no, they're not supposed to be there for another 15 minutes. I was expecting them to say they're not supposed to be here till 9:45. That's what usually happens. But it's a mess, and I've complained about it before on their Facebook page. I wish they would fix it so everybody was on the same page with that. So anyway, they weren't there. It was 9:30. According to the person I called, they were supposed to be there by 9:15. They got back to me and said, oh, they got a hold of the transportation people and they said they will call you in a couple of minutes. And they did, and they said, oh, we can't get anybody to come out there today. No explanation as to why. I have to switch arms. My hand is cramping up. Excuse me. Oh, look at my Christmas decoration I haven't taken down yet. So yeah, that happened. And they were like, is there anyone there that can take you? And we will reimburse them for gas. I'm like, no, that's why I get rides through you guys. And they were like, well, can you reschedule? And I was like, possibly. I didn't think I would be able to, but I called anyway. Let me call my doctor's office. And then I told them to call me back, the transportation people. And was able to reschedule for 1:30. Right, I'm still seeing a smudge right there. It's driving me crazy. And right there too. I am not good at applying my makeup. I think I did an okay job today, especially since this is a redo. Anyway. Oh, it's a new phone too, by the way. So I told them to call me back in a few minutes, which I see as like, I don't know, 15. But it took me at least 10 of that to get a hold of my doctor's office. Because I called Sarah. She's the lady I usually call when I have these issues. And I got her voicemail. I think I left a message. Yeah, I left a message and I said, I'm going to try one of the other numbers because I have like 6 different numbers for this particular doctor's office. So I called another number, which I think it was the main hospital number. And they transferred me back to Sarah. And I got her voicemail again. I didn't leave a message that time. I figured one message is enough. She got back to me and said we could reschedule for 1:30 today. After I hung up with her, the transportation people had not called me back. So I waited 5 minutes. As I just said, a couple of minutes. Just give me a couple of minutes and then call me back. And I'll let you know what they said. I should have just taken down their number and said, I'll call you. Which I already had their number in my phone anyway. They... Oh, this is way better lighting. I I'm sorry. It's been a long day. I'm obsessing over the way my makeup looks. Anyway, um, I couldn't get a hold of them. I think the first time, what happened? Something about, I think I was outside. I was in my wheelchair, ready and waiting for my ride. So there was all these outside noises going on, and the automated thing kept saying, or no, was that CareSource? I don't know what happened the first time I called Logisticare. That is the name of the transportation company. I can't remember what happened the first time. I called them again, and I got a hold of somebody, and she said, "Hold on, I'll transfer you." And it gave me another one of those number options instead of it being a person. So I clicked the one I thought would be best, and it turned out that they had canceled the ride already because I was just going to cancel it and then ask somebody to reschedule for 1:30. But I didn't even get to talk to a person that time after she transferred me. It just told me that we're sorry. This my reference number wasn't being recognized because they had canceled the ride. So I was frustrated and cold and racing to get this done so that I could get to my appointment on time. So then I called the transportation number for CareSource that I have. Well, that's the thing that did the outside. I think the Logisticare one did too, but I'm pretty sure I know the CareSource one did too. I'm like, I'm sorry. Something about the background noises was like interfering, and they thought I had said something, but they couldn't understand. I was trying to talk to the lady, and as I'm explaining what happened, a truck drives by, and it's the loudest freaking truck on the planet. So that's why I had to recall them again. I called them again. She transferred me, and I got nowhere. So I called CareSource, and then the transportation number for CareSource, and the outside noises kept screwing with the automated lady thing. So I just called their main number, and I got this really lovely individual who tried to help me as best he possibly could. His name is Lamar. So he was like, yeah, he said something about like you're having trouble with Medicaid, and I'm like, actually, this is what's happening. I told him, and he was like, oh no, that's not okay. I'm like, no, it's not. So he got the transportation people on the line, and he stayed on the line too. After some finagling, the guy from there, Sean, I believe was his name, was like, well, we don't have anybody in the area right now. The closest was like Portsmouth, which that would have taken forever for them to get here. So I think that's a 2-hour drive. So he's like, call us back in an hour. And he hung up, and I was still on the line with Lamar, and he's like, I don't like that answer. And I'm like, neither do I. He's like, they're not supposed to do that. Apparently, policy is something called, what was it? A one call solution or something like that. Where they're supposed to keep you on the phone until they figure it out. So he was like, it's already been a long time. You've been on the hold for quite a while. You've been on the phone for quite a while. I'm gonna get my supervisor on the phone. We're gonna call them and their supervisor, and we're going to figure this out. And a little while later, it was about noon, he finally called me back. Oh, no, okay. Yeah, okay. Sorry. I'm trying to remember all the little details. He calls me, says, we're still having some issues figuring this out. I will call you again in about 20 minutes and let you know what's going on. And he did. Before that, we were on the phone for an hour. I believe, yeah, that's when we were on the phone for an hour. No, that's not when we were on the phone for an hour. Shoot. Trying to remember all of the details. We were on the phone for an hour at one point. No, that was the end of the situation. Before that, okay. He's like, I'll call you back in 20 minutes. Before he called me back, Logisticare called me again and said there was nothing they could do. They were like, you're just going to have to reschedule. And it was like a minute before Lamar called me back. And I told him that, and he was not happy. He was like, that's not good enough. This should not be happening. So he put me on hold. Got his supervisors, his supervisor and manager, called their supervisor, all the higher ups, and Lamar were on the phone. I'm on hold, and for some reason, the first group of calls I made this morning, there was no background music for either company. No little messages about what doctor's appointments have you done, have you had this done, checked, blah blah blah. None of that. It was just silence. And then the second group of phone calls, there was background music and all those little messages. And then during this hour, nothing again. There's no sound. The only way I know I'm still on the phone with him is there's a little dot at the top of my phone. And that indicates that I'm on a call. So I get my lunch made. I had my lunch while I was on the phone, watching TV, blah blah blah, posting on Facebook. And yeah, I was like updating the people on Facebook. I was like, it's been 37 minutes. And then it was like 45 minutes. And then it was 53. I texted my sister, I'm like, how do you get a hold of somebody you're on the phone with? They have you on hold, but it's been a really long time, and you just want to tell them never mind. Because at this point, the new appointment was 1:30. They needed to be there by 12:30. And that was like 7 minutes away. If anybody was going to come get me, it had to have been 7 minutes. And nobody was going to get here in 7 minutes. That's never in the cards. So she was like, what did she say? Something about pressing 0. Sometimes that works for her. I didn't even get to do that because he called me while I was texting her. Or he took me off hold, and was like, we're still all on the phone with them trying to figure this out. But I was looking, he said he had me on hold, and they were talking, and he looked down and he was like, oh wow, it's like almost 12:30. She's gonna be late if we don't hurry this up. But he got on the phone and he was like, I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm so sorry. You might have to reschedule. And I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I hope he takes me off hold soon, because I need to give up and try for a different day. I'm really lucky my urologist's office is very understanding. This happens so many times. So yeah, I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. It's not your fault. You've gone far beyond anything anybody else would have done to try and help me. I plan on leaving a review on both the transportation company and CareSource's Facebook page, but I'm going to make sure I give him a positive shout out, because he was so helpful and so apologetic that it wasn't happening, and how ridiculous the whole situation was. He understood, and he was also upset that the whole reason for this is they didn't show up in the first place, and they didn't really give me a reason. They just said nobody's available, which makes no sense, because then they tried to blame it on me. When I was on the phone with him, they tried to blame it on me. It was like, they were like, when did you call? And I was like, I don't know, Thursday or Friday? I couldn't remember. But then I realized it's Monday. I would have called Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I always make sure I call at least 2 business days ahead of time, because that's the policy. I don't do any more than a week, because I've noticed the further out I schedule it, the more that there's going to be a problem. Yeah. There's definitely going to be an issue if I call more than a week out. So I don't do that anymore. Because it guarantees I'm going to have an issue. I don't know why. I don't know why. If I schedule the ride, why isn't that person available on the day? It should be like, okay, this person just scheduled a ride. You need to be ready on this day at this time. It shouldn't be a day-to-day thing. Like, oh, I'm sorry, we just can't make it out there today. No, that's not the way it should work. So that was a couple hours ago. I've made so many phone calls today, not just to those two people. I have to get a new GI doc. I get supplies through my urologist. I've always gotten them through a urologist. Because I think my urologist did my cystectomy surgery, which involves my bowels. I do a flush out every other day, and I use 12 French catheters to hook onto the enema bag, and I do it that way. And I get protective undergarments from them too. That's a urology item. So I don't know why they insisted that this time. They were like, I don't know why you've been getting them through us, through urology. You need to get it through a GI doctor. I'm like, I've never had one. So I don't know why it's an issue now. So I called Children's. I was going to try and get a referral through them for a GI doctor, or see if my doctor at Children's could do the script. But the next adult clinic appointment is not until February, towards the end of February, and I need to get in sooner than that. But I made the appointment anyway because I need to see them. As you know, I didn't make it to my last appointment to see them. I was really hoping 2020 would be better. Anyway, so they suggested I call my primary doctor. So I did that, and I'm just waiting to hear back on whether he can give me a referral, or if there's somebody in the office I can see. I don't know. Or if he could just do the script. He probably will. He's pretty cool about stuff like that. If I'm like in a pinch and I need a script for something, and yeah, he's really cool about helping me out with that sort of thing. So hopefully I'll get that figured out before I run out of the undergarments, because it turns out I have the script is good until May for the catheters. So I ordered some of those and I got those. So I'm just worried about running out of the other ones. So that's been my day. I've got to do the reviews. I'm going to send a copy of it to my sister. She knows some place that I can send some sort of letter. Oh, what did she call it? I can't remember. Complaint sort of letter. This is just 2020 was supposed to be better in regards to my transportation issues. I was just hoping it would go better. It did not. So I'm gonna take my iPad into the living room, get some more water to drink, as I am cotton mouthed. I'll wait for the kids to get home. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. I don't know how I'm going to do uploads, because they have taken out the computer and put the bunk beds in, like I mentioned they were going to do. So there's no computer. But my mom has a computer, and I figure I can do like just a raw upload of a video. Like, I might do it this way with this one. Just upload it the way it is. I don't know. See what I can do on my new phone. I might be able to finesse something on the new phone so I can edit out certain things. But I don't know. We'll see. So, yeah. That's how my 2020 is going so far. I hope yours is going better. Alright. Bye. Okay, trying this again. I have no idea where to talk into on my phone. But I'm going to do a voiceover because my app keeps crashing every time I try to up chop up the one I had from the clip that I added on, because the sound was lagging behind, so I just took out the video part and was trying to edit the audio, but that didn't work, so I'm doing this now. So later in the afternoon on Monday, Logisticare had left me a message, and when I called it, when I answered it, listened to the message, it said to call this number and enter in this extension and talk to this person. So I called the number, but it didn't prompt an extension. So I called CareSource, I think it was, and told them the situation. And I told them the name of the person. And they were like, I think it's this person that you need. So they transferred me, but then that person was at their desk. So I hung up and I left a message. I can't remember if I left a message or if I hung up or what, but I ended up calling somebody again and getting transferred and getting a prompt this time and entering in the number for the extension. And what was the first thing that happened? The first thing was it just kept going back to the greeting every time I entered in the extension. I did that 2 or 3 times just to make sure I was doing it correctly. Then the second time I hung up and I tried again. They transferred me and it rang and rang and rang and rang. So at this point I was getting the runaround. I wasn't being helped at all anymore. They were done helping me, basically. So I called CareSource and let them know the situation and ended up on a 3-way call with CareSource and Logisticare. I don't remember the conversation except that my sister got on at one point when she got home from work and we were on speaker and she was talking to the Logisticare lady and asked them what they were going to do in the future to keep this from happening anymore. And this lady just kept repeating what she had said before. It wasn't an answer to the question. It was just, you need to do this, this, and this to schedule your ride. And she just kept repeating that. My sister just kept repeating the question until the Logisticare lady hung up. And then I was on the call with just the CareSource lady because then my sister left the room. And we talked for a minute, and she suggested that when I make a new appointment, which I have, it's for Wednesday. I'm going to call on Monday. She suggested that I call CareSource and ask for a member representative and have them schedule the ride, which I do not understand how that will help ensure that I get to my appointment. But I'm gonna try and see what happens. I might try that a couple more times and just see if that's what keeps me from missing my appointments. If it works, then it works. If it doesn't, I'm just gonna go back to scheduling the rides myself. That's the situation as it stands now. I'm gonna try and make this video not horrendously long. So please enjoy this slideshow of screen caps from the first part of the video while you listen to this audio part. Okay, bye.